From the Government Accountability Institute, somebody, full disclosure, I do some work with. Peter, you wrote about this in Blood Money, one of your many books. You were on this a couple of years ago, but it seems like now that Trump's in office, they're finally paying attention to us. Explain how this is working and the Chinese involvement.
Yeah, no, I think it's so important that President Trump is taking a strategic approach to the fentanyl crisis, because Joe Biden thought it was just a healthcare issue. The bottom line is this is a Chinese operation. The drug cartels are the junior partners. The precursor chemicals, as about everybody now knows, come from China, but they're offloaded at the Port of Manzanillo in Mexico, which is run by a Chinese company. Those precursors are shipped up north, where the DEA says 2,000 Chinese chemists happen to be who turn this into the deadly cocktail of fentanyl. The drug cartels then use pill presses that the Chinese have sold to them at cost to produce these pills, which are killing so many Americans. And then the money laundering aspect of it. The drug cartels 20 years ago used banks in Latin America. They're now using state-owned banks. So this is a strategic initiative by China to punish and damage the United States. And I applaud the Trump administration, not just this operation to unwind part of the money laundering aspect and the nature of it, but also the Trump approach on tariffs, which is saying you are going to pay a price. We're not the type of people who are going to do the same thing back to you, but you are going to pay a price with tariffs as long as you continue to put this poison in the United States.
Yeah, people always, they ask me, oh, what does the Hunter Biden context mean? When they snuggle up with China, and then the DEA was telling the Biden administration, hey, there's billions of dollars of drugs flowing into the country. You telling me there's not a tie and a connection here? I'm telling you, that you've highlighted, I could spend an hour on just this. It's so infuriating. But I want to transition to George Soros. There are some serious allegations. They're only allegations, but there's some thought that maybe RICO charges should be brought with some of the organizations tied to George Soros. Tell us about that.
Yeah, of course, I'm not a lawyer, but I've spent a lot of time studying this. RICO is a statute, was passed in 1970 to target organized crime and individuals who were financing and supporting criminal activity, because what was happening is they were arresting the guy on the street, but the guys that were behind it, that were organizing it and financing it, weren't getting arrested. So RICO was passed. It's been used in the past against the Aryan nations. It's been used against white supremacists in Mississippi. The National Organization of Women tried unsuccessfully to use it against pro-life groups. And what it comes down to is this. George Soros on the left, Elon Musk on the right, completely have the right to finance political activities. The question becomes, if you are funding organizations that are engaging in criminal conduct, violent criminal conduct. Think, for example, of the Los Angeles riots, some of the groups behind that. Think about the attacks on Tesla that have taken place. Yeah. There was an attack down in Georgia in 2023 where they were throwing fire bombs and attacking cops at a place called Cop City. The organizations behind that were funded by funding networks like the Tides Foundation and the Open Society Foundation, which George Soros, of course, funds. So the question is, if they are funding organizations that are known to engage in criminal, violent conduct, could they be charged under RICO? And I think there is a precedent there, and I think it's something that ought to be looked at by prosecutors, because, again, we want to have a very strong conversation in America about the future of our country. We do not want wealthy individuals funding violent protesters that are tearing down our cities and that are harming law enforcement officers.
Yeah, look.
Damn, this guy said it like perfectly. Everything he said was on point. And that's why we should be investigating a lot of these wealthy elites that, you know, there's been so many conspiracies out there of, oh no, we don't know. I heard so much about Soros and a lot of things that he's been financing that could possibly be linked to terrorist organizations around the world. And, you know, hearing this coming from this gentleman here, a Government Accountability Institute, Peter, Man, this guy, he knows exactly what is going on, because so many conspiracies that have happened, a lot of them have slowly been coming to light. Yeah, I didn't think going after the cartels was going to be an easy mission. It's going to take more than 4 years. It's going to take a long time. It has to be something that's going to continue on to the next presidency, but hopefully carrying the same forceness of wanting to achieve this, completely annihilating the cartels to the point where the only thing we need to worry about is things that are going on in our local communities, and local law enforcement is able to handle it and sustain it. As long as we're having secure borders and we don't have a president that decides to open the borders again, I'm hoping and praying that doesn't happen, because this is how we just keep going through a cycle of let's break things up, let's fix it again, let's break things up, and it's just on and on. We need to have a consistent safety net of this country in all aspects, whether it's the border, our local communities, and even financial burdens. We should not be finding things out from our government that are saying, hey, your taxpayer money for many years and people that have died in the past, all this money has been going through to people and organizations that aren't supposed to. And that's why I believe the Trump administration, they've done a lot of transparency with certain things, but I think we're just craving everything to be transparent in every aspect, especially those Epstein files. I still haven't heard about it. We need to start having some of these elites being questioned, and we need some more proof and details of who's involved in the Epstein situation. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. Till next time. Peace out, everybody.